So I've been driving with the TS Performance chip. It's a 6-position chip for a little bit over a year now. And what I've noticed is a few things. The truck has got tons of power. Like if you set it down into like the stock tune, so like if I turn it all the way to the left, it's like stock, and then there's high idle, and then I believe it's 50 horse tow, 90 horse race, 100 horse, and then 125, like the extreme. I leave it on the 90 horse performance like all the time. What I found is that the 50 horse tow, the trans is looser than I like. They all lock up in fourth, which is fine, but the shifts are a lot crisper in the 90 horse tune, so that's the one that I rode with. I've got 251,000 miles, so I prefer to see as much line pressure as I can to keep those clutches happy, and not try to just slip all the remaining life out of them. 50 horse one is unimpressive. You're not really getting anywhere, and you're also, you know, the trans slips a lot. It doesn't grab fourth gear, grab fifth, it kind of just smooths into it. What I notice is, like going down the highway, right now I'm towing a skid steer on a little tilt deck trailer, and it'll go into fifth, and then if I need to accelerate a little bit, it doesn't just downshift into fourth, downshifts all the way to third, revs way out to like 3,500 RPM, just screams, and then kicks into fourth very shortly, and then into fifth. And like that kind of annoys me because like I don't need that much. Like I have the app on my phone, I can see how much throttle I'm giving it, and it's like 35% throttle. It lugs in fifth, and then all of a sudden it's just like, rah, it's just screaming, and I'm like, I don't like that. And this is what I'm talking about, the lugging. It'll just do this right here, and I can just give her more throttle and just smokes. Just more throttle, more smoke. And then it downshifts and just screams. Like, I would so much rather it downshift to fourth, like as soon as I start hitting that grade, downshift to fourth when it starts to load, build a little boost, run clean. And I'm not trying to go to the races here, I'm just trying to run clean and keep up with traffic without putting my foot on the floor. I have to go all the way up to like 60% throttle before it will shift out of overdrive, drop all the way down to third. I hate that. And that's the best combination. If I do the tow tune, it never locks the trans, it just slips like crazy. It's terrible. And if I go up to like the extreme tune, it just like smashes into gear, and it's just not good either. And also with the Hydra, Power Hungry Performance has a program that I can actually plug my laptop in and adjust shift points and stuff. It's another thing I'm really excited for, is the customizability of the Hydra. Now, don't get me wrong, like I already said, daily driving this truck empty, wonderful. The truck goes enough to where it picks up a little bit of speed and spools the turbo without smoking like that. But I'm not even stepping hard into the throttle. That's going from like coasting to literally like 30% throttle. And I've confirmed that on the scan tool. I can see the throttle position. If I go from just coasting to 30% throttle, it doesn't bring the fuel in. It's just like, and just smokes. The smoke, like it just smokes. Like I'm gonna come up to this corner right here. I'm gonna turn into this neighborhood, okay? And I step into the throttle a little bit, smoke. Little throttle, smoke. It's like the low boost fueling is bad. It's really bad. In the 7.3, there's two fuel tables, high boost and low boost. The low boost table on the TS chip is terrible. You know, to be completely honest with you, I like literally, I read online all the time, and I'm looking at the KC balance assemblies and stuff, and guys are talking about crazy turbo surge, like, and I'm like, what's the deal? Like, I've grossed like 24,000 pounds with a dump trailer hauling some concrete and stuff, and I'm hard on the truck with the TS chip. I have this, I'll be honest with you, I turn that sucker up to the extreme and just let her eat, and like never barked the turbo a single time. Even fourth gear locked, if I waited for it to lock into fourth, it would lock for just a second and I could like smash the throttle and get it to stay in fourth, and it would just spool the turbo as much as it would, like the most right there, and I could not make the turbo bark. I was literally starting to think something was wrong with the truck because I know the turbo's completely stock, and so I'm like, there's got to be a problem, but I don't have an exhaust leak or anything. Like, all the lines are good, there's no boost. To start installing the Hydra, you're gonna first pop the hood of your truck, and you're gonna come in right here on the firewall. Down in here, there's a connector with a little 10 mil bolt. You're gonna take that bolt out. That's the electronic connector that plugs into the PCM. Next, we're gonna go into the cab. We're gonna look right down here is the PCM. So there's this 7mm right there, and there's another 7mm right up there. Take both of those out and this computer will slide out. I've gotten the computer out of the truck now, and you're gonna take these 6 bolts out. They're a 5.5mm. Get the 6 bolts out, you're gonna take this cover off, and down in here is the computer. This is the port that you're gonna be using for the chip. The stock ones have like this silicone covering on these pins. In the Hydra, it sends you Scotch-Brite and a brush. Now you're actually gonna use the butt of the brush or the heel, and you're gonna use that to clean these. That's what's gonna take off the silicone, and then this is just gonna polish the pads. If you can see the scratch marks in that, you might have to just take my word for it. That shows you that you're making contact with the Scotch-Brite on those copper pads, which means if the copper pads are touching that, that means that the chip will be able to make contact. You get what I'm saying? If the silicone is still on there, the Scotch-Brite will not affect the copper pads. But as soon as you see the Scotch-Brite cutting into that copper pad, stop right there, because you've gotten all the silicone off. You're ready to put the chip in. But first, you gotta program it. Come in here to gopowerhungry.com and go to the Hydra Flash section, and you're gonna click install, which is the Hydra Flash. You're gonna take out the cable and you're gonna plug in the chip. I've got the chip plugged into the computer, and it takes a second to load, but once it does, you're gonna pop up this screen and you're gonna see your 15 slots to choose your tunes. You're gonna come down here first and look at this. This is called your box code. Mine is NQW5. So I'm gonna come up here to the tools, and I'm gonna do a box hex conversion, okay? So I'm gonna choose the actual box code from the PCM sticker. Mine is NQW5. So we're gonna come down here a ways, NQW5, right there. And now this says that the desired calibration, the one it gave me was TNAA4Y2. So I'm gonna go in there and type right here up in the search filter, TNAA4Y2, 4Y2. And now it has narrowed down all of the tunes that I have. So there's ones for regular and modified valve bodies. So I'm gonna go ahead and filter through and pick the tunes that I want. Tell you what, guys, there is a ton of them, and I mean like a ton of tunes to choose from. So it took me a minute to figure out what I want. Realistically, I'm gonna plug it in and remove all the ones that I don't like, because it's gonna be a bunch of clutter pretty much to go through, you know, 13 different tunes to find the one that I want. What we're gonna do now right here is just click program, and it's gonna start the process. All right, so we just got the Hydra to work. I had a little bit of trouble. It was throwing a PADS code, anti-theft code. I just needed to clean the chip more. I'm really excited right now. We got the tunes. I'm messing with all the different ones. The trans tuning is far superior. I mean, far superior. Here's the acceleration from the light. I'm at about 30% throttle, and we're just gonna keep up with traffic, just no problem at all. I mean, I'm super happy. Oh my gosh, hook a trailer on it. I think I'm in the 80 horse tow tune right now. I can't even believe how good this is. Like coming up this hill, and like we're just chugging along. It keeps it in fourth, and so the power is there immediately. Like I don't even have tow haul on. Like tow haul's off, and it's just doing the work for me. It just keeps the truck in fourth. 2,000 RPMs. If I need to accelerate, I just touch the throttle a little bit. RPMs are high, so enough to where like boost is immediate, and it's just like, dude, I'm freaking amazed. Like it shifts into second and it shifts into third. Like there's a gear there. It's not just like a fluid transition. So I'm really happy with the Hydra. And for the first time ever, we made enough boost to bark the turbo. The point that I'm saying is with the Hydra, it is already making more power just from the TS. I drove the TS for a year. Okay, I've done plenty of trailer towing, a little bit of back road ripping. I have full throttle ripped getting onto the highway with trailers, you know, locked shifts into fourth and fifth. The TS Performance chip never barked the turbo. The Hydra empty is making enough power to bark the turbo. There's a very clear difference there. I am super impressed. This chip the tuning, dude, is so much better. The truck runs better, it runs cleaner, it pulls in boost a lot quicker. I mean, it's just crazy. And the trans tuning, oh my gosh, it like shifts into each gear. The TS chips trans tuning was horrendous. Like, it was better than stock, but still trash. I can't say good enough about it at this point. About to come up this hill, doing about, what, 45. I'll step into the throttle. It smokes like for just a second, and then here we go. Like, yeah, it'll do a little puff of smoke. You know what? I understand that diesels, you have to make boost to run clean. Like, I get fuel is power, all right? That's fine. But there's something to be said about your tuner actually bumping the timing up a little bit when it does give it some fuel and spooling the turbo and actually like running clean. Like, I'm not gonna just dump fuel out the exhaust just for fun. Like, that's not fun, that's stupid. And it doesn't get me anywhere, but you know, with a wallet that hurts more, and it doesn't get my truck down the road any faster. So, you know, that's my perspective on it. Also, hauling equipment around like that skid steer, I get to the job sites and the seats got soot on it, and it's bull crap. Anyways, the Hydra, 10 out of 10 recommend. If you got a TS1, I mean, sure, it works. You know, I picked up a couple miles per gallon going from stock to tune on the TS, but frankly, the Hydra's already running better, and I'm really happy about it. It starts way quicker. That was a thing that me and my cousin, who you probably might have seen yesterday, were really shocked by. Like, when you fire the key, she starts right now. And like, that was not like that with the TS chip. It's like, it aggressively starts. And I'm like, also really happy about that. 10 out of 10, power hungry performance Hydra. Nailed it, out of the park, dude. This is a great chip. I understand now why guys talk very highly about these. And I 100% recommend to anybody looking to get their 7.3 done, do it. You will not regret it. I had quite the time getting this chip to work. The previous owner had, like I said before, I bought it with the TS chip. They had sanded down the contacts on the PCM too far, okay? So the silver tinning, the solder that's on there, was worn down, and ultimately the chip was not making good contact with it. I had to actually take my knife and just bend those copper tabs in the Hydra down just slightly so it would pinch the board a little harder. And then I put the chip with the computer in my lap. I took the chip, put it in and out about 6 times, took a flashlight, looked at all the contacts, and saw the reflection of the scratches, like where the Hydra is actually making contact with those pads. I saw little scratches on every single pin, so I knew we were good this time. And then also I discovered the PATS module that sits right above the throttle pedal in these Excursions. It's a black box with a green plug. It sits kind of right up above the throttle pedal. On this was unplugged. Now I believe it's because I have an aftermarket remote start. I will deal with that if it causes an issue later down the road, but I got that box plugged in again. So far, no problems. The truck fired up. I got all my tunes loaded in, and it's actually reliable. I was having an issue where it would start for like a second, and then it wouldn't run. And man, that was a lot to hunt down. I read, I swear, like 1,000 different forums, and here's what I came up with. You're gonna have to do some PATS stuff, some passive anti-theft, if your chip is giving you issues. And the Hydra flash down at the bottom, there's a little spot that you can select PATS enabled or disabled. Mine was always enabled. I had selected it right off the jump. My problem was probably that box that wasn't plugged in. But apparently like 99% of the time, the issue with these is the contacts not being clean. So actually, I forgot to tell you, when I pinched down the chip, I also took my wife's nail polish remover with some Q-tips. You know, those things shove in your ears, clean them. And I scrubbed those pads until they were shiny, like clean, perfect. So them things were clean. So it works now. The truck has started 8 or 10 times after that. All the tunes work. There's no theft lights on the dash. So I'm fired up, guys. Like, I tell you what.